To begin with, we'll have to create the project structure. That is the structure you saw, which we are following what we call the three-tiered architecture. And this architecture is very powerful because it helps separate concerns between the presentation layer, the logic, and the data access. So all this is just to help to ensure scalability, high flexibility, and even the maintainability of the application is in a manner that is easier and also very efficient. So the first thing to do is to create a blank solution for the application. So here you can go and just so within this you can select if you can search here, if you just say blank, so you'll see this blank solution. But if it is something you've used before, you'll see it under the recent projects template. So select the blank solution, click next. So this solution, we are going to call it so like that. So the Blazor CRUD three-tiered, because I'm using the three-tiered architecture. Of course, there are other architectures you can utilize, but this is the one I chose. It's the one I'll be working with. Then I can save it. I had a folder here. So select this, then create. So my solution has been created. So the first thing to add to this solution, I'll add a folder, then call it presentation. So within the presentation, I'll add a new project. So the project here I'll add is the web API. So this, the ASP.NET Core Web API. Click next. So here I'll just pick this name like that, and then I'll say Web API. So click next. So I'll use the .NET 8.0. You're free to use any other framework you want, but just know there could be differences because different frameworks have different ways of doing things. So leave the rest of the details as they are. Then you create. So it take a few minutes. Just give it some time. So you can see the project is created. So that is the web API that will be hooking up with our APIs, which the interface, the Blazor interface can consume. Then also add a new project. So here we will add, come here and then just search for Blazor. Again, the way you search this is up to you, as long as you find what you need. So we'll use the Blazor Web Assembly standalone app. So click next, then this, copy this name like that, and then here just say client. So that is the client Blazor application. So click next. Again, here we leave as it is. I won't touch on whatever is there. So we have those two in the presentation layer. So the next layer that we will add is the business and the data access layer. So what we'll do, we will add new project. So we'll use what you call library. Yes, so the class library like that. So select this class library, and then here you say data access, Next. Again, all of them will be on the .NET 8 framework. So we have that. So add, that's the next layer, that is the business. Again, class library. Next. Like that, and then just say business. That. Next. .NET 8 create. So those are the three projects that you need to create that will mimic the architecture we are following, that is the three-tiered architecture. So from here I can just clean up things, what I don't need. So I don't need these differences. So we've deleted the two classes that were default in these two projects. So I think now we are now set to go. So the first point we begin with will be creating the web interface. But for that, we have to hook it up with part of the business and the data access layer. So to begin it, we'll start with the business layer. Here we'll add a few DTOs and entities that will help in the creation of the database that we need to be used by the presentation layer. Begin by creating a folder, and we'll name it entities. And here we'll add a class. So one of the classes is employee. So this one will hold the employee entities. So add it. So the employee is created. So we need to add a few details for the employees. So we can make it public. Just add these details. And you can see there is a dependency of department. So of course, it means there is another entity. So new, add a class, call it department, add, make this public. Again, we add a few details for the department here. So the department name, department ID, like that. So these are the sample details or properties that are within the class employee and also within the class department. Okay. Then we have another folder we create that is to hold our DTOs. So add a new folder, then name it DTOs, like that. So we add a new class, and that class, call it service response. So add, so service response. They need to populate it again with something. So just populate it like this. So this service response is the one that will help us in communicating the responses back to the client of whether a success or a failure from the business and the data access layer. So having done that, so I think we are done with the business layer. So we can proceed to the data access layer, where we create our migrations and link it up. We proceed. There are a few dependencies that the data access will need for us to be able to complete whatever is needed there in creating our migrations and the rest. So I will suggest that we install them so that it's easier for us as we proceed. So we just need to come here in the dependencies folder, actually on the project, then just come to this manage NuGet packages. So with here you have now to browse. So the first package you install is the Microsoft Entity Framework Core. So this one. So install. I'll use 8.0.6 at the point of the recording of this video, but feel free to use that which you have and see whether there are any issues. But as for now, I'll use the latest, which is that. So let's see. So that one is installed. Then the other one is what you call the design entity something design. Let's see if I can get that. Microsoft Entity Framework Core Design. Can install it. Apply. Accept. So the next one is SQL Server. This one actually. Install. Apply. Accept. The last one is the Entity Framework Core Tools. Let's see if it will come. So this one. Stop. Apply. Accept. So we have these 4 packages that we need, and then I think you can also just finish it here. So on the web API, there is another one that we need to also install, because remember the web API will be interacting with the data access. So there is a dependency that they need. So let's just do it once and for all. So that is the code design. So install it there as well. So install. You can see it's the web API here. Apply. I accept. So you can see if you come here, so it is there. Okay, so we are fine with those packages. So now we can again add content for the data access. All data, so call it data. So here we'll add a class called the app db context. So make it public, and then this one will hand it from db context. So from db context, so let's pull that dependency. So the one we just installed, the Microsoft Entity Framework Core, and then of course we will instantiate the the constructor for it. So here, then what you just need to do is add these two. So these ones are the tables that will be created within our database. So let's just add the reference for business. Yes, and that is our AppDB context. It's complete. So we can just close it off, then minimize that. To do is to add a connection string within our presentation layer, that is within the web API, that will connect to the database that we will create. So here we just need to open this, the app.json, then just put this. So this is my connection string. The data source will be this. You can have your own data source. Then these are my password. That's the password. Then this is the Blazor CRUD. That's the database actually that will be created once I run the migrations. So that is the database connect. Then I need to import this within the program.cs so that we can use it. So I think that's what we can do next. So for that, we need to click on the program.cs, then just beneath here, just add that. And then you need to import this. So we need to add the reference for data access because that's where this class is situated. Then also we need to add a reference for this, which is the entity framework code. Okay, so that is the connection string. So by adding it here, we are making it possible for us to use it within our application. Okay, so having done that, so the next is to run our migrations. So let's go do that next. Is come to tools, you get package manager, the package manager console. I'll clear my screen here. Then what you need to ensure that the project selected on top here is the web API, and then also here ensure it is the data access. Very important. So this one connects to the database, and this one holds the classes that we need to create the database with. So that's why the selection is important. If you don't do that, you'll end up getting errors. So now what we need to do first is to say add migration, and you can just give it a name called first. So it is building. Let's give it a few minutes. So you can see after a few minutes, it creates a file within the data access layer that has details about the migration and all the details of the tables that are being created. And then what we need to do is just say update database that. So that is done. So we have created our migration successfully. The database has been updated successfully. So we have our database, and of course it's empty. And we'll see how we can utilize it once the UI is complete. Yeah. So I think once that is done, we can now work on the endpoints for the API. So to proceed with that, we'll have first to create repositories within the data access layer that will control the CRUD functionalities on the database. So that's what you can do next. Within the data access layer, you can have another folder, and we will add folder and call it repositories. So here we will create an interface, so new item, then interface, then we'll call it I employee, then make it public, then add the following tasks with their functionality. So we have add async, it will be responsible for adding employee. This one will be for update, delete. This one will be for getting all and getting for a specific ID. So we do the same for the department. So just right click, add new item, interface, then say I department, that. So make this public. Then we'll add these classes below. They are actually similar. The only difference is the entity they are calling. For this case is department, and for this is employee, but they're actually going to do more or less the same thing. And then what we need to do is now implement them. So what you just need to do is add a new item, then a new class, call it employee repo. So add, make it public. Then this one will implement the I employee. Then we can implement the interfaces here like that. Again, the same for department. Add a new class, then call it department repo. Add, make it public, then extend I department. Then here you just need to implement the interface again. So we need to add the functionality for all this using the entity framework to help us do all these functionalities for both the department and the employee repos. So we can begin with the department. So you just need to update for each. Do this, let's then replace it like this. Okay, so let's import this first. Let me use this. So we need the Microsoft entity from core there. But you can see I'm injecting the app.db context, the one that I created. This one is the one providing our connection to the database. And then of course, for the add async, I am calling the departments and then checking if the name already exists. If it's not null, it will give me it already exists. If not, it will proceed to save changes, then return the true response. For delete async, we are passing in an ID for a specific department. Then again, check if it's null, the department not found. If not, remove it, then save changes. For get async, we are again getting all the departments in a list. And then for the get by ID, we are passing by ID, then find by that specific ID. For update, We pass in the model of the department, then do an update, and then save changes and return the response. So this is just a method that is calling the save changes async. So that is very simple. There is nothing much uh, complex on this interface, on these endpoints that we are creating here. And it's pretty much what we will replicate for the employee repo with just one change to accommodate the dependency of the employee to the department. So let's do the same for the employee repo. Just replace the details within the repo with these changes. Then here we can just do this. Again, just to walk through quickly, we are injecting the appdb context to connect to our database. For the add async employee, we pass in the employee model. So if the name exists, we return this response. If not, we add the employee to the database. For delete async, we pass by the specific ID. If not found, we return this. If not, we remove the employee and return the response. For get async, we are getting all the employees within that, and we are including this because of the relationship it has with the department. Then again, for saving this, this one is the method we use to do the saving async, the one you see here. So it is just calling the appdb save async. Now for get by ID, again, it's very simple. You get by a specific ID, and then for update, again, you see we are passing in for all the details of the update that we have. So again, very simple and straightforward. And then of course, this is the not found method we are seeing here. We're just calling, so sorry, no employee found. So that is pretty much on the repos for the department and the employee. So the next step is to create controllers that will actually be the actual endpoints that we'll see on the web API interface, which will be interacting with the repos that we have just created. So to do that, we need to go into the presentation layer and the web API. Under the controllers folder, we'll create two controllers for department and employee. So let's just do that quick. So here we select API and then the empty controller, add, and then of course API controller, then name this department controller, add, and then also add employee. So add a new controller, API, add. So this one we call it employee. And then we add that. Okay. So again, we will now call on the repos that we have to be what will be called on the endpoints that the interface or the client, the Blazor client, will utilize from here. So let's first populate for the department. So for the department, what we just need to do first is to inject the I department repository. So I department. So here it will be department. Okay, and we just paste this. So you can see we have the endpoints for get all departments, calling the get async. Then this one get by ID async. This one for add, update, and delete. Again, very straightforward, very simple. So this is what now interacts with the database that you saw us create earlier before. So again, the same still applies for the employee. So let's proceed and do the same. So again, for the employee, you do the same thing. So inject the I employee, employee, like that. Then just paste it like that. So again, to get all employees by ID, then add, you're passing the employee model. Again, here we are updating the whole employee model. And then here we are deleting by the specific ID of the employee. So now we need now to test our API to see if the functionality is okay before we can hook it up. We can hook it up, sorry, for on the interface that is on the Blazor. So to do that, first we need to register these repos within the web API. So that one will do it within the program.cs. So just where we had added the connection string, just add this. So this one will be the I employee, employee repo, I department, the department repo. So those two are the ones which we are registering for us to be able to call the APIs and test it out. So now, once that is done, I think we can just close this off. Let's close this, let's close this, and then let's test it. So to test it, we just already this is selected. So let's just say debug and then start without debugging. So you can see it has completed the running. So let's see here. So this is our web API. So you can see, as we saw in the introductory video, we have the department and then we have the employee. So let's test and see. So we can add a department. Let's see here. So let's try it out. So I'll say here counting. Let's execute. Yes, so you can see it's added. And then of course, let's see if we can get, so execute. So we have the department. So we have currently one department, accounting. So let's see if we can edit. So let's see. So if I put here ID1, then I say accounting, accounting one, execute. So you can see it's saying updated. Let's see if that is the case. At this point, let's execute. So you can see it's updating. Again, we can maybe just remove this, and then again it's updated. So if you move here, so it should be able to return back. So that one is working. Then let's see for the delete. So you can get by ID, of course. So try, let's do one, execute. So we are getting by ID, and then of course we can delete by the same ID one, execute. Yes, so it is true, it is deleted, because if we come here and then execute this, you see it's giving us a null body, meaning there's nothing to give, it's just empty. So that is for employee, for department, sorry. Let's see for employee. Again, we will try and post one employee. So let's try. So for this, we need first, let's add one department because of the dependency that is there. So let's add this as it was. Let's try it out. Okay, let's execute this. So it has been added. So then here, what we just need to do is we will remove this. Then I can say admin dev crucible, then admin dev crucible at gmail.com. So the department, I'll say 1. Then this one, they can remain the same. Let's execute. Column ID, let's see, what am I doing wrong? Okay, so I was using 1 instead of 2. You can see here it is 2. So that's why I was getting that error that you saw. So what you can do here, let's just try and see. So I'll remove this. Then I'll put here 2. Then I'll say here admin dev crucible. Then here I'll say admin dev crucible at gmail.com. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so you can see it is added. Then if we say we get, let's see what it gives us. Yeah, so you can see it's giving me back details about this employee. Of course, again, we can do the input, we can do the put, and we can get by ID and then also delete. For now, let me just delete it because I just want everything clean. So execute. Let's see. So ID is 2. Just a minute. So 2, execute. Yeah, so it is deleted. So now we have completed our API. So now what we need to do next is to proceed and see how we can now consume the web API within the Blazor interface that you saw us create earlier. Because as you can see here, we have this web API. So the next step is this interface. Maybe you can run it so that you see again what I mean. So we have here, let's see. Yeah, it's just running. So this is the Blazor web interface. Yeah, so we want to see, we had the home having the department, the employees, and then we'll have another link here to show us the department. And then of course, to see how we can utilize the Radson components. Radson components. Yeah, this. So this is what we'll be utilizing on our interface. And you can see it is free to a specific tier within their documentation. So it's something that is worth seeing and trying to explore how you can utilize it. So you can see here it is free. You can install it and from the NuGet packages. The paid support is also available, and you can look at further if you want to know more details about it. But all these are the controls that Radson is presenting us with, which have very powerful capabilities, and we'll be seeing that in a very short while. And I'm sure we will be able to appreciate whatever is happening. Then, of course, the other UI interface that we'll be utilizing is the Blazor Bootstrap. The Blazor Bootstrap. So the Blazor Bootstrap here, again, the documentation is available. You can check it out and see how it is. There's the Bootstrap that we know, but this one is customized to specifically Blazor, because Blazor technology, as you know it, is a bit different from the normal technologies that have been available. So this, again, the documentation for it. It is something to go through and see how we can utilize it. Just a minute. Yes. Yeah, so this, you can see again, the Blazor Bootstrap has components, so it is you to decide based on what you see. But for me, I chose on this because of how I saw it, and you can see several companies, including Microsoft itself, is part of whatever is trusted as a partner with them. So join me in the next episode of this series to see how we can utilize the two components. For those who have subscribed to this channel already, I want to thank you for your support. And in case you've not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you always get the latest content when we post.